What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back for another week of Growing with My Fellow Growers. I'm your host, Jack Greenstock. Hopefully, this is live. It looks like it's still loading. Yeah, I think I'm going live here. But I'm joined, as always, by an amazing panelist, at least right now. I've just got Spartan Grown with me, so I'll pass it over to him first.
Hey Jack, I'm Spartan Grown. You can find me on Instagram at Spartan Grown, all one word with no spaces. Or if you don't do the social media, you can shoot me an email at spartangrown@gmail.com or russ@gmlarmy.com, and I can help you with all of your lighting or growing questions, hopefully. And it looks like Jack is frozen already. We're two in the bed, and now we're down to one, just like the song goes. So I guess I'm just gonna stall for time. But happy Mother's Day to everybody. There's Jack. Jack is back.
I'm back. I unfortunately wasn't able to get my router replaced. It's in the process. I have the new one coming in the mail. They didn't even argue. They're just like, "Yeah, we'll send you a new one." I was like, "All right." I probably should have just
Hey,
brought it to a store and swapped it out. But they knew. They probably checked my thing. Like, oh, he's not even anywhere close to what he's paying for. So they're technically fucking me over. So to avoid getting sued, they'll replace a fucking router or whatever, and I'll be happy about it by next week when I get it all installed. But until then, we'll have some interruptions. We've got Tao joining the room here in just a second. But it is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to you all out there. Thank you, Spartan, for joining me, and thank you to Tao who's jumping in as well. And tonight we're going to talk a little bit about mother plants and also growing in the heat because I was just telling Spartan I installed a new fan in my window right before the show. I just got a new fan for my bedroom, replaced the tower fan, and it really makes life a lot more enjoyable to live, especially like if you're like me, one of the 13% who doesn't have AC. Uh, Growing in the heat, there's a lot of modifications and little things that you can do to help your plants. But without further ado, I want to welcome in the American one.
Hello, Jack Spartan and everyone in chat. I am the American one on the YouTube and the American one underscore with underscore Keens over on the IG. Yeah, I'm glad I made it. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and all the mother plants.
Speaking of mother plants, I want Spartan to maybe give us a rundown of what is in the Spartan arena. What are your current mothers that you have in the stable?
oh yeah, let me see. Let me see if I can take those off my memory here. That's a scary thought. So for sure I have Spartan Puke in there. I know I have Orange Vortex in there. I know I have I renamed a strain. The thing I always yell about renaming strains, that's the one thing I hate a lot, but I didn't rename a strain because I have another pet peeve of mine is male names for female plants. It pisses me off. I just don't like it. So the original strain name was King Hakan, but I have renamed her to Queen Hakan. So I've got Queen Hakan down there. Let me see. I've also got Vortex, the original uh Vortex. I have do I have no, I don't have a Project V down there right now, so that's not down there. Dang. This is a big I had Bliss Bud because I just loaded up a light of that. And then that might be all of I'm trying to think. I just took four things out of the cloner, so those technically could be mom plants now, but I got four more. I just don't know what they are off the top of my head.
It's all
Yeah,
good.
I'm not sure, but those are the majority of what I've got in there at least.
At least I'm counting one, two, three, four, five, at least five in the stable, plus maybe four more that you said you just took clones of. So nine in the rotation is a pretty solid stable of mothers. And I did notice Brandon Rust just has arrived as well.
What's going on, everybody? Brandon Rust, if you guys don't already know, you can find me at Instagram at rust.brandon, on YouTube at Bokashi Earthworks, and you can find all of our products on bokashiearthworks.net.
I think Jack just got back. I see him moving again.
Oh, did you
No, that
hear
was
me?
perfect. Yeah, I hear you. That
I
was
think everybody
perfect.
heard you. I think I just cut out because
Okay.
right after I introduced you, I saw everybody freeze. And I'm going to actually turn off my YouTube to attempt to maybe lessen the bandwidth drawn while I'm streaming. So that way I don't potentially overload my old ass 7, 8 year old router or whatever it is that's in the process of being replaced. But welcome in, Brandon. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. Spartan was just telling us about his clones that he has as far as mothers he's got going. And I'm curious if Brandon, what clones do you have going currently in your stable?
I just put all my mothers outside today. Um, I cloned everything and then I put it outdoors to revigorate them for the season. And then I planted all of the crinkle cut F3s also. But I've got a bunch of stuff. I have a bunch of seeds that are going right now, and then in my library, I got a bunch of different stuff. I've got some Mac 1 Starfighter, some Chem D Black Lime Reserve, we've got Chem Dog. I've got several different phenos of Blueberry Train Mac. I've got some Trainwreck Blueberry
Which
MKL.
Chem Pheno do you have? Chem D, Chem 91,
Chem Dog, Chem D.
Chem D.
Can't believe I forgot about Mac 1. That's one of the things that came out of the cloner. Mac 1, I got that too.
That Mac 1 Starfighter is better than regular Mac, bro. That fucking gas.
I would agree with that personally.
That gas. I mean, you can't really find it. I think it's some of his older work. I was lucky enough that he sent me like 400 seeds, so I've got a bunch. But dude,
That was like an acronym for like Great Ants Secret or something like
Great
that.
Aunt Secret, yeah. And it's Mac 1 Starfighter, and the shit is, dude, I have phenos that are just straight gasoline. That's the terpene profile. It's gasoline.
I've definitely got some of that stuff with Doja's got some stuff in that profile for sure. His Del Norte fuel is like that. And there's phenos of the Jack Spike Punch and other stuff that he sent my way that lean heavy that way, like he has a super silver across the Del Norte fuel or Del Norte fuel. And man, I love gas. I think that's always going to be one that's going to be, I think for the next decade, 2, 3, 4, that's going to be one that people will be asking for. It might not be, OG Kush or Chem Dog in the next 20 years or whatever. It might be Gorilla Glue. It might be something else, but gas doesn't seem to go out of style too quickly, at least. Even when the fruits come and go, the candies come and go, it seems like there's always somebody, me and others, asking for gas or wanting to grow it. Doja, the reason he made the Del Norte fuel was because when he wanted it originally, it was like $10,000 a cut, like Brandon was meant.
Oh, we lost Jack
Yep.
again.
Jack froze.
No, I'll to I was looking through, like, I have a seed collection in like a mini fridge, and then that's my main seed collection, and then I have a drawer that's actually right next to me right here that is like my overflow seed collection, and I was just looking through that, and it's like I can't even think about getting more seeds. Why am I even thinking about that? I've got so many fucking seeds.
I've been trying to not acquire more, but when they're giving them away, it's just like, yeah. And they always, explain the course. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. But yeah, I'm with you, Spot. I'm trying to control myself. I, I don't want to waste them. I'd rather have someone else get them. But since my mic's open, I don't really keep mother plants. I keep slutty teenagers. And once they could give me a baby, I'd take them and then I put them in flower. So
That's still a mom though, like a solo
yeah,
cut
that's
mom.
true. And it ends up being a mom getting, getting laid by some of my males. So a true mom. That's a true mom. A mother plant with clones is just
Mother giving
giving,
birth,
giving clones. A real mother gives birth, and but
not just asexual reproduction.
I did lose a couple of the ones that I didn't want to lose, but like Brandon was saying, after I lost I lost that time wreck, which was one of my faves, but she got hit with a couple of things, and the offspring is a little bit better, but it's different though. That's the problem. It's different. It's not going to be the same. So, but yeah, I was devastated for a minute, but then, yeah, I have courses with the mother plants that I loved. So I do have the proprietary, the one that was a bag seed that I didn't know what it was. And I felt like that one was more worth saving because I didn't know what it was. And I could probably find, well, now I don't know if I could find straight up time wreck seeds. I might have 3 like hidden in my coffer somewhere, but I figure, yeah, if there was seeds if there were plants that are still out there, then I could always, re-look them up. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
I'm also a big fan of just popping seeds, and there's two or a direct descendant of things that you might like or have lost out there, or even like if you had a cut of like Super Silver Haze or something that you really liked, you could still buy Super Silver Haze and stuff. in seed form, at least from Shanti Baba, Mr. Nice, and there's a lot of. I mean, get it while you can, I guess. Like we saw with Subcool and others who are on the older side, Bog, many others that have great strains that many loved and still love to this day are no longer with us. Josie Wales, just the list is too long to even.
Yeah. Shout out to people like Spartan who crossed up the made F2s with the Subcool stuff.
Oh yeah, man, I could not do that when I I was like, oh, I got Vortex. Fuck yeah, I'm making more Vortex.
You know what? I made seeds of Time Wreck by cross with Cheesequake, and I was going to give them all out, but I haven't sifted through them. I didn't pull them out of the material even yet. But if we guys are up for it, let's do a giveaway. I'll send some out this week because I have others I got to send out that I've been procrastinating on.
We'll have to think of one that either you guys can run through the chat or something that I guess doesn't involve, because I've like shut everything else down other than this Zoom meeting to try and eliminate myself from getting dropped. But maybe you could, I think one of the fun ways to do it is to come up with like a quiz question, and then you ask the chat in the first one to get the right answer. Is always a fun way, or you could do a random number. I mean, whatever you're feeling.
If you use StreamYard to do the lives, they have a tool directly built in where you just put like hashtag and then something, and it'll scrape it right from the comments, and then it'll cycle through random winner. And also,
I just don't like to make it so giveaway centric, because a lot of the shows that I watch or I'm on, it just feels like it takes away. I try to make it as educational as possible, and on the random off chance somebody offers to give one away, like I'll do that, but I don't want it to be in every single show kind of thing. But Tal, what pack did you say you wanted to give away?
Oh, hold on. Oh, I didn't know my mic was on. I was trying to get back to the Zoom because I just went to chat. I want to do the Time Wreck by Cheesequake because those are two that from Subcool, and I purposely did it in honor of Subcool. I planned on giving them out, and then when I had to move and all that stuff, I kind of got sidetracked and didn't even think about them. But now that we were talking about it clicked my memory. I got them in a jar, and yeah. So Time Wreck by Cheesequake, Cheesequake male, Time Wreck female. And then untested, I didn't even grow one out yet. I think I don't know even know if I germ tested them. So I might be promising something that's not even real, but we'll do it anyway. We'll give it a go. Oh, and is Jack froze again?
Yep, I think he is. Yep.
All right. So what do you two think? Since he's not here, should we do a question or a number?
I think the best thing you should do. Well, I don't know. I love the idea of a question. I just don't like the idea of people being able to just try to Google it. So make it a question and it's not Googleable.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I got one related to Tao.
There you go.
All right. We'll let you do the question.
The American one in the past has mentioned he won an eating contest in maybe other states. What was the first eating contest that the American one entered? What kind of food were they eating?
That's a good one.
Good luck Googling that.
Yeah, that is a good question. I like that.
I like that because it'll go to a loyal somebody that's been listening to a while. Maybe they heard it on the show, maybe they heard it on another show, but Tal's mentioned that story a couple times.
Really had to pay attention. Yeah.
My heart goes out to the people that listen to this later. They're shouting into their devices.
They haven't gotten it yet, and you can tell they're guessing because it's not it.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good guess, though.
I was gonna say that was the number one guess so far as hot dogs.
Yeah.
It's also non-traditional. That's part of the reason I picked it. Is you wouldn't just it's not something that you would expect to have an eating contest for.
It's not one that you'll see at the county fair. No.
Yeah, not pie, not hot dog. I don't know, ice cream, whatever else is common.
Wow, nobody cares. Nobody paid attention.
Crickets. Maybe we'll loop back around. Maybe we'll make it a Subcool centric question because it is a Subcool seed giveaway.
That would be fine too. We could switch it up because I don't think anyone's gonna get it.
I didn't even consider that. Yeah, it might be too difficult.
So I think if we're gonna do a subcool one, it might end up being Googleable, but like maybe go like a deeper layer, like not like what's the parent of a strain, but like why did he call? Oh, I've got a simple one from subcool. He bred with a strain pretty commonly, and there was a male of that strain that had a particular name. And so if you know what the name of that strain is, it's a
I do.
Jack Cross as a hint.
I know what it is.
Yeah, I'm familiar with
Yeah.
that one too. Yep.
I bet you the chat's gonna light up in a few seconds because it's pretty. If you know about subcool, you know. I'll give you the cross. It's Space Queen is the female.
You should have
What's
never
the
given
male?
that hint.
Oh wow, that's a big hint.
Yeah.
Happen. We're gonna get this giveaway winner. It's probably already in there. We're just
Hand
chat
over
delay.
quick.
If they don't know this one, we're holding them back. You guys haven't been big enough
That's
weed
it.
nerds.
There
We'll
you
save
go.
it for the
Yeah,
people
you
that
have to
listen to the
be-
podcast.
Yeah, I already saw the answer.
Oh yeah, there we go. We got a winner.
Nice. Oh, looks like Jack's frozen.
It's Mark. It's Mark Reich, right?
Yep,
Rish?
yep.
Yep.
I
All
don't know
right.
how you say it. Is it Rish or Rish? Rish?
Probably. I don't know. That's a good question. I would say Rish.
Well, Mark R.
There
That
you
was
go.
the correct answer. The shock Jack, he's back now.
All right. Well, now that we got that out of the way, I went to a roast beef joint, and on the wall, I ate a roast beef sandwich. It tasted really good. On the wall, there was a big banner saying first annual Roasties roast beef sandwich eating contest. And I'm like, I'm going to go in for a free sandwich at least. And I ended up placing second in the event. And that's what started me on my competitive eating stint for like 2 or 3 years. I was a competitive eater and got free food and like $200 or $300 every weekend for like 3 summers. It was a great time of my existence.
My competitive eating was much shorter lived, but I did get some free food out of it. Once I ate a giant sub from Jersey Mike's and was complaining that I wasn't that full. And I went to Chipotle and ate a double meat Chipotle burrito, like within half an hour of eating a giant sub. And I was very active at the time. So I was just like burning through shit tons of calories. But I ended up running into a guy who worked at Jersey Mike's at like a shoe store with my buddy. And he's like, oh, he says that the Giants kind of like bad value because he could eat 2 of them in one sitting. The dude's like, no, you can't. It's like, if you could eat 2 Giants in one sitting, I'll pay for it. And I was like, I could do it in less than 30 minutes. So I showed up, ate 2 Giants in under 15 minutes, and he hooked me up both of them for free and gave me like 5 free subs. But after that, I was kind of sick of Jersey Mike's and didn't eat it for a long time. That said, I do think they make a pretty decent sub.
Were you full after the 5 free subs?
I didn't eat the 5 directly after. The 2 Giants admittedly filled me up. That's a fuck ton of calories. If you Google like what is 2 Jersey Mike's Philly cheesesteak giant subs in calories, I bet you that's a fuck ton of calories for 15 minutes. So, but yeah, I did that, and then I did more hot stuff than high calorie. I did like hot wing challenges at like Quaker Steak and Lube. If you're from the Midwest, you might know. They have the atomic hot wing challenge. So my name's up on the wall at a few of those places for eating like 6 of those, and yeah, eating hot peppers and shit. But this is non-grow related, although it can be kind of related to growing if you grow your own hot stuff. It's just like growing your own cannabis. It's better. The homegrown stuff. My buddy, his parents who had their own Mexican restaurant, even when I was in Ohio, they grew their own jalapenos, and their fucking jalapenos and habaneros were like way hotter than you would ever find at the supermarket. So it's there's something to knowing how to grow.
Well, it's the same thing. The home growers in the habaneros, or not even as past habaneros, like the Reaper peppers and all these other ones. It's the home growers that are doing their crosses and making those. It's not some big commercial company that's making hot sauce that's making those.
It's some dude in South Carolina. It's like Johnny, like Fire Breath or whatever the fuck his name is. You know, he like just keeps on. When I was a kid, when I ate that habanero, it was the hottest pepper in the world at the time.
Oh, froze again.
Yeah.
was
I was in
like-
a jalapeno. I was in the jalapeno eating contest. It was in Texas. It was in what's the name of that place now? Whatever it was like not. It was kind of like a low income kind of area, and the people came out and like there was like 4 ties. We tied. People tied. So after like the 4th tie, I was in it the whole time too, tying with these people.
Oh
The
my
last
God.
one, me and this kid tied. I'm like, dude, let's just split. You can either take the trophy or the money, and I'll take the other one because I don't want to eat no more of these. But uh, yeah, it wasn't as bad as everybody makes it out. But I could never. I ate a ghost pepper once, and if they had a contest eating ghost peppers, I think that there would be like some medical issues for sure, man.
They make you sign waivers for a reason, man. That shit's real hot. You can get
Yeah.
anaphylactic shock.
They had to have, every event I went to, they had to have an EMT there every single time. So yeah, if you ever want to run a eating contest, and I was at one where someone started like they choked actually, they had to do the Heimlich to get this stuff out of their throat. But yeah, now I digress and we get off track. So
Funny enough, you can't even say like Heimlich anymore. Like I guess he wanted, or it's supposed to be some like safety recovery position or something. I guess he like a bunch of people got their ribs broken, so he didn't want to have the name associated with them anymore. But I've seen it save multiple lives. My brother saved one of my best friend's sister. She was choking on like a hot dog or something, and it came flying out with like a sip of Coca-Cola. It was quite the visual, but it works. Shit, you could save people's lives if you know that. Even like a hard whack on the back is a good way to dislodge something if somebody's choking. Like I know it sounds bad, but like a fish hook, you take your finger, stick it in their mouth, and try and dislodge whatever the thing is. You might push it down or be able to pop it up to clear the airway. So it's a as a former lifeguard, I think sometimes it's good to remind ourselves about these little safety tips, even in the middle of a cannabis grow show.
wow, I never even thought about reaching in there trying to grab that food out of their throat. That's I never even thought about that.
It works a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Crazy enough. I know it sounds fucking simple, but sometimes simple is effective. Just like with growing. I mean, like fucking put it in soil, give it water. That's what I'm about to do with the seeds I've got wet right now. It's Project V, and the grow after that's going to be all Brandon Russ gear. So I've got a cool couple lime crosses from you and some whole bunch of different interesting stuff that I'm going to get popping next. But the Project V, they were so amazing in veg on my last grow that I had to shut down prematurely. And now I'm finally in the position where I'm going to get the full run set up. And so I can't wait. Vortex is one I actually have never grown personally. I've smoked a little bit of it, but when you grow it yourself, even F2, I think a lot of people, I think maybe in certain cases, rightfully, or in some cases, over exaggeratingly, talk about the F2 being so different than the F1. And I've seen like the F2 almost be like the sister. You almost couldn't even tell F1 to F2. It's like it was like almost the exact same thing. 99 out of 100 people might not even know. And then sometimes it is really freaking different. It brings out different flavors and expressions. So
I'm hoping this F2, because of the way I made it, well, it's definitely going to have some more variation than the traditional F2 because there's two males. There's two males and two females, and they're all in the same room. And it's like a very mini, small, tiny open pollination project, kind of. So it should open up the Vortex genetics, I would think, kind of to give you an idea of what's you might be able to see, depending on how many seeds you pop or whatever, you might be able to see kind of both sides of the scale. Who knows? I would expect to see a little bit more variation than if you had a Vortex pack.
I would agree with that. But that said, I do think you'll find, like if you pop 5 or 10, something similar enough to that F1, you'll be happy. And just like all the stuff that's in there comes from the same parent/grandparent genetic line. So it's like you're working with fire all around. So whichever way it tends to lean, it's almost always going to be good.
I agree with you. I find myself looking back in time more than I look forward in time on strains as far as like I really enjoy so I like a little section of subcool strains. I love Vortex. I loved Cuvée. I loved Chernobyl. And I started looking at their lineage, and they all had space. What were just it's funny you brought up Space Dude or Space Queen. They all had that similar parentage, and then you start looking at that, and that's Romulan genetics, and you're like, God, man. So it's like now, should I look for Romulan? Should I look for Space Queen? So it's funny that
There's like Cindy 99. When you get down through, like there's Jack, there's Cindy, like the whole subcool worked with a lot of fire, but it's pulling off. I think at that time there was a lot of very well worked, high quality things, and now there's like some stuff that might not have actually been generation step forward. Like I can be humble enough to admit not every single strain that was ever made, including maybe my own, the F2 might not have been better than the F1. The F3 might not have been better than the F2. And if we continue to push that stuff forward and work with it and mix it into the other stuff, then maybe the stuff from the 90s and early 2000s will be better than the 2010s and the 2020s. So it's upon us to be honest with ourselves. Like if we make a cross and it's not genuinely better or doesn't have some new unique quality, then maybe we shouldn't push it forward. Maybe we should try to be picky and uber selective and try and find the best of the best. Otherwise, we'll just muddy up the gene pool for our own ego's sake.
But at the same time, I still encourage people to just say fuck it and throw some pollen.
Have fun. I'm just saying, like, don't
Exactly.
maybe don't like I don't know, do whatever the fuck you want. Fucking sell it, fucking give them away, do whatever the fuck you want. I just think be honest is my only real request. Tell people what you're actually working with, label it appropriately. If you even if you want to give
Well,
it a brand new name, say what the lineage is and fucking little parentheses somewhere.
yeah, we could just caveat it by saying if you're going to call yourself a breeder and you're going to sell seeds to people and you're going to take money for your seeds, then yeah, take it seriously and do all the things. But if you're a backyard gardener and you're just trying to breed shit in your terroir, you know what I mean, to every season, save seeds and fucking keep the best shit that grew that season, or maybe something showed PM resistance or whatever your situation is, whatever the grew best, and you keep saving those strains and you cross those strains together to make something specific for your situation, specific for your grow, then by all means, I say fucking breed all the time. You know what I mean? You're not breaking those seeds for other people. You're not having to worry about providing a provenance of where it came from or any of that bullshit. You're just being a fucking farmer. And so don't think, don't get those two things twisted. You don't have to be a breeder and a farmer. You can be one or the other. You don't have to do both. Just, I think it's just to be a classy person. If you want to be a breeder, do it the right way and have, check all the boxes. But if you're just doing it for yourself, you don't have to worry about checking all those boxes. Just do you and have fun with it.
The having fun is where a lot of the best shit's found. I mean, GG4, which I think is one of the top five, great. Going back to like 808 Genetics, comment on Brandon's podcast. If you guys haven't checked it out, check out the Battle of the Breeders, I think is what it's being called. Really interesting stuff over there. But I would definitely say GG4. If it's not top five, it's damn close. And it might even be above top five for me and a lot of others. And that came out of a accidental home grower project. It wasn't like he was like, I'm going to be the biggest, baddest, best breeder of them all. He was like, man, I had some real fire shit and they knocked each other up. And the offspring of it, the number 4 was fucking phenomenal. I'm going to spread it far and wide and show people how good it is. And it got out there and it earned its name. It earned the respect. But a lot of stuff isn't going to be GG4. So there's but that said, it might be something that helps somebody's ailment. Maybe it doesn't have to be a million people love it. Maybe it just helps your mom or your grandma or your uncle or your cousin or your friend to sleep, to be a little bit less anxious. One I'll kind of knock that I'm not a lot of people like, I'll be controversial, Jack, for a second. Tropicana, not my favorite. I just picked up a sample of a Tropicana cross to, I think, strawberry lemonade. And it's just, it tastes good, smells good. Just the high is a little not the best. It kind of made my wife and I both a little like anxious feeling in the body, even though like nothing bad or anything else going on. And like you could say, oh, you're just not used to sativa or whatever, not strain tolerant. But I just haven't had great highs with any Tropicana or Tropicana Cross. And I know it's a huge favorite. It's got great color, all great flavor. It makes good hash. But that for me, the modern Tropicana, I'll say. I know Breeder Steve and others back in the day worked with the Tropicana, which is a different thing than the very purple Tropicana that's going around now. But that just said,
I
everybody's
love,
got a different.
I'll go on this record to say I love the flavor of chopped cherry. And I don't know if I've smoked it by itself to tell you if I like the high or not, but I know that I love mixing chopped cherry with Mac 1 together. That's my favorite. I should make that
Yeah,
strain.
I can say that Trop Cherry smells great. I love the profile and stuff, but as far as the high, it's pretty empty for me as well.
That's my problem with it. I just as a ever
Oh, we lost him again.
There's a lot of strains that have that reputation anyway. And like, yeah, I'm in like Redland, so I don't get to sample all the new flavors. But people have said the purple punch is purple and
Said
has no
metric.
punch. You're back,
Yeah, but
Jack.
the thing with Purple Punch is everybody who was growing it was taking it at,
8, and they had to go 10.
7 weeks or
Yeah,
whatever, and
Five,
you
six,
need to
seven.
take it like 9.
and that
And
makes all the difference in the world, right?
yeah,
Huge
Yeah,
fucking
there's a
difference.
few I think strains like that as well.
I'll stand on the purple punch being a legit strain if you take it 63 to 70 days. If you could push it 70 days, fuck, it's good smoke.
I crossed it to Black Lime Reserve. Fucking amazing.
It shines everything up. I mean, it's pretty decent yielder. It frosts everything the fuck out. That's why it was such a huge favorite in so many crosses. I think Dosey is a purple punch cross. I think there's a whole bunch of other purple punch crosses out there that have become received. But at the same time, I think it it risks going down a bottleneck a bit, where if one thing gets so popular in breeding, that or like platinum was pretty big for a while. Um, Platinum cross to whatever just to increase frost and yield. For that critical, but nobody grows critical anymore because the smoke's terrible. Like I'll poke fun even at like some of my favorite breeders, Shanti Baba. Like he's I think the guy behind Critical, and Critical is now like every Dutch and European seed bank has their version of it. Critical mass, critical this, critical whatever. But the smoke is just it's like Big Bud. Big Bud was a huge yielder. People grew it for a long time and they mixed it with stuff, but not the best.
I used to get work packs of Big Bud.
That's
Have
like the
anybody,
Chinese Bubbas of today.
have you guys tried the Dirty Taxi yet? That shit. I'm not. I haven't even looked up the lineage or anything, but I was just like, when I tasted it, I'm like, they obviously named it because of the terps, because it tastes like I just licked the floor of a fucking taxi. Why would anybody want that? But I mean, the high, I love it, but the fucking flavors, wow, dude. I got it in concentrate form, and
Yeah, I've seen it in concentrate only.
I was just like, it was really popular and everything, and it's like cool, and it is a good high, but I don't understand why it's popular because the flavor is like wow.
I don't understand how people put ketchup on their eggs, but people do.
Hey,
I
I
like
put
hot
ketchup on
sauce.
my eggs, motherfucker.
I like hot sauce on my eggs.
I
Dirty Taxi is apparently Chem 90,
And my
I-95
macaroni and cheese.
with GMO.
That's new.
Hey, when you're poor, man, you gotta get your flavor from something.
When I moved to California, I met some people that say they put Tapatio on everything. I've seen it on
Yep.
Oh, yep. You never
like
had
like
the
Cholula.
boiled hot dogs with macaroni and cheese and
Yes,
ketchup when
dude.
you were a kid?
Not the ketchup. I just had the
Broke Boy special.
we weren't that rich. We didn't get ketchup too. Fuck.
Yeah, I just got hot dogs and mac and cheese. We didn't even think to put the ketchup in there.
You
I
guys
think I
not
had it, but we didn't put it in there.
ketchup sandwich? That's a real poor.
I have it wasn't just ketchup. I had ketchup and pickles. So, the sliced pickles, but I love those pickles and ketchup sandwich. Man, that's
Man,
making me sound like a real poor guy now. But yeah, I love
this
those.
reminds me of a story, dude. I like cheese sandwiches when I was a kid. So I'm like, told my
Oh,
mom,
me
I want a
too.
cheese sandwich.
Oh,
So
fuck yeah, dude.
I'm at lunch. I'm eating my cheese sandwich. Like, what? You so poor you can't put no meat on your sandwich? I'm like, dude, I don't want no meat on my sandwich. Whatever. But it always stuck in my head, that comment. Like, got me a second. I was like, no, I ain't poor. And then it made me think, am I poor? Maybe I'm a poor person. I don't know. But no, I wasn't. Well, that not there's anything wrong with it. I mean, yeah, I was poor at a certain point in my existence. Yeah, whatever. Now I'm like, all right,
Nothing wrong
let's
with that,
take.
man. We're the cheap home grow. That's part of it. It's
There you
like
go.
we're frugal, and like as the third son in a family, I got a lot of hand-me-downs. It wasn't even because we couldn't afford it. It's just because like
It was there. Yeah.
it wasn't so bad that it needed to be thrown away. It might have like lost some of the elasticity in the fucking waistband or the sock or whatever. And by the time I wore them out, had holes in them or whatever. But it got us through. Both my parents were teachers. It's not like we were balling, especially back then. But they eventually moved up and you figure shit out. But Yeah, it reminds me of Kendrick Lamar's "Syrup Sandwiches" line in one of his songs. And I think everybody has their. One of my buddies used to do cereal with cold water because they didn't have milk. He's like, man, if you get the water super cold, I swear it tastes just like milk. I was like, all right. Shout out to my homie Travis. He's actually the one who got me into the fucking grow. Uh, Travis and Thomas, my homies from Cleveland. I hope they're still doing well. I know Thomas. I've been linking up with him lately, so fucking shout out to the homies, man.
Damn, that
Fucking
reminds me of another. I had a party at my house, a beer party. Everybody would get drunk and stuff. We ate everything in my house, and I made a bowl of chunky soup. And I don't know, I was, drunk and hungry. I poured Captain Crunch in that chunky soup, and I ate it like it was great, man. It was good. But yeah,
you were real
I
feeling it.
stopped drinking. Yeah, dude, I had a lot of fun when I was a little younger than I am now. But yeah, I got to say, I had a semi-charmed kind of life, even if I wasn't in the Warren Buffett class. I really had fun.
Hey, it's all about who you know, right, man? If you got good friends, and even if you fucking don't have any money or good connections, you could have a good old time with a whole lot of nothing. You could be out in the middle of the woods or the sticks, fucking. Oh man, I've had a lot of fun with a whole lot of nothing. Fucking, you
I
get yourself a
concur.
fire and a leaf blower, and
We're gonna miss the rest of that one.
And that was the internet censors fucking cutting him off that time. Like, wait a minute.
Fire and a
Guys
leaf
on the
blower. That's
West
not
Coast
good.
talking about fires and leaf blowers? We're cutting him off.
I don't have one of those stories. That could.
I gotta say, now that I'm back, I think I tried to show. I was telling somebody the story of how when Spartan, once upon a time, was smoking on the Michigan Bros Grow Show. I think his hemp wick or something caught his beard on fire temporarily, and he pats it out.
That was
But I don't know if the
classic.
Michigan Bros Grow Show took that down or if YouTube took it down because like it's a violence or injury thing or something. I don't know. But I tried to show like my wife or somebody that video the other day as like a reference, like, oh, because she knows Spartan, the guy with the big beard. I was like, his beard's caught on fire once on one of the shows, and she's like, no fucking way. And I was like, yeah, it was on one of the shows, so it must be out there, but I couldn't find it. But that being said, we have hundreds of shows, so it's easy to.
It's let me look. Last I looked, it was still there.
I bet you it is. I just think maybe there's even clips. I think Abolished might have clipped it somewhere.
That's the one I found was the clipped version. Let me look for it. I could probably find it.
Smoking can be dangerous. Not only putting your beard on fire, but I saw this clip and it had me scared of doing dabs. The person was torching up the bucket, and the thing shattered in their face. So
Don't buy
this
a
is
cheap shit.
right. This was like at the beginning, and I'm sure someone just made a shitty piece of glass and was selling it, and that's what happened, man. So that scared me. And then one other one, it was at the beginning also where they were making the BHO, and obviously they didn't clean out the BHO. They put the thing in the dabber. The guy's watching the other guy do it. The thing is going on fire, pouring out black smoke, and the guy's like looking at it. He's like, "I'm not smoking that." The guy walked out of the room. It was classic.
I've seen people hit stuff that was still bubbling, like it was still off gassing. They just open blasted it outdoor into a little Pyrex dish, and then we're so fascinated.
Right?
Like, oh, we gotta try it.
The thing was
Didn't know about
spewing
purging.
out flames, dude. It was wild.
Things not to do. I just trimmed the beard actually, so much less likelihood of it catching. But there's advantages and
Safety first,
disadvantages.
man. Safety first. I did find it. I put it in the YouTube chat for everybody. But yeah, I was surprised how quickly it went up. That was what's like it's a blessing that I was doing streaming because I noticed it in the video stream, like seeing myself on the screen before I saw it in real life.
Exactly.
That's how insane and how insanely fast it went up. It went out pretty quick too. And I just did kind of one of those things and boom, it went out. But yeah, be very aware of where that's what it was I had, you're right, it was my where's my hemp wick? It's right here. I had a hemp wick and I like to light my bongs with hemp wick. And I had just lit my wick and I was getting ready to grab my bong and hit the bowl. And somebody on the stream had asked me a question. So not thinking, I had it in my hand already lit. I leaned forward to like speak into the microphone. And yeah, I just lit the whole thing up.
It's wild. That's why, honestly, I switched over to a electric dab rig versus like a bucket style with a torch. Even though I do think you probably get a better dab out of a torch, if I'm being perfectly honest, than any electric dabber I've tried. There's some good ones out there. I also like the Dab X. I think hits harder than a Puffco, and I think the Dr. Dabbers are pretty legit too. There's lots of good options out there if you're a non-torch person. And I also think the stigma of the torch, like if you're out and about, like it's much nicer in the car to have something that you can just charge up with the USB-C, fits in your cup holder type thing, or in a little carrying case, something like this that you can just tote it around. But fuck, the whole reason I brought that up, we were talking about safety, but cats, that's my main thing. I have super furry cats, fucking Persian Maine Coons. Their fur is like super long. They have 3 coats. And like if I our torch, I had one of those big blue propane bottles or whatever with like the turn on and like click the little button, and it's got like a fucking flame like this big and it's hot like fucking this far away. Sometimes my cats fucking just are playing and they just run around. It's like I don't want to accidentally light one of them on fucking fire. And just like Spartan's beard, man, anything that has hair with oils will catch on fire real quick. Dogs, cats, whatever. So you gotta be careful with those fucking torches.
Right up. I could see that.
I can see it in my head, and it's terrible because I could see his cat on fire and then running through the house, lighting the whole house on fire everywhere it goes, you know?
Be
Oh,
terrible, dude.
yeah, dude.
It's just like any animal. Like everybody loves their pets. No one wants to see that happen unless, you know, there's some people out there that do it intentionally. I've unfortunately come across videos like that online, and it's dark, but that's the world we live in, I guess. But not lighting things on fire aside, growing the fire. Getting back to the whole mother situation, is there any tips you guys have for keeping your mothers happy going into the hot season? Because even if you have a good air conditioner, we're coming up to that hot time. It's getting
I got
warmer.
one.
You might be in a heat wave right now. How do you keep your
I got
plants
one.
happy while it's hot?
Uh, N-humate and calcium silica. It's the
Is there
business.
a method of action that those two things provide that helps the plant do better?
Well, calcium, silica, and if you're running moms, you want nitrogen if they're trying to produce biomass.
Oh, that's great
So
points. All critical. I always take advantage of all those things typically, which is happy to know that already on the right track there. I've heard silica and I've also heard yucca, I think can help plants be a little more heat resistant. Spartan or Tau, do you guys have any tips to keep your moms happy in the heat?
Well, it all depends for me. It's like I don't tend to try to keep big moms at all. So my moms are just normal plants, and I just tend to kind of treat them that way. So no, I don't really do anything extra. I treat them the same as I do everything else. I just try to keep them extra healthy. I'll reset the fuckers though, for sure. Like if they're getting too big, it's better for me in my situation just to reset it and make it small and maybe wait on that round for something else. But I don't like to keep big moms and then keep having because it just creates so much more work at the end. Because now you gotta keep it cleaned up, and now it's extra vegetation, which is dumping more water into the room, and you're putting more water into it. You might have to up pot it. It's gonna get bigger, and the root zone's gonna get restricted. So for me, I'm in my space. I tend to keep smaller moms, and I use the whole reset thing for me as like a kind of what Brandon was talking about with bringing his outside. For me, it also always seems to reinvigorate it once you get it down to a cut, root it, and put it into some new media. It seems to always, I don't know, make it more invigorated than an older mom. So I guess long, short story long, my biggest trick, I guess, that's outside the box would be just reset it, which is counterintuitive for a mom because you're trying to get them big to get cuts.
There's a balance though. I think even in like a 1 gallon, that's about as big as I'll go for my moms. I'll actually do a solo cut mom. You can get 5, 10 good cuts off of a solo cut plant, which is more than I typically need. I want 1 or 2 really good, strong, healthy reproductions. But if you're going for a little bit larger production, 1 gallon, I think you get 20, 30, maybe 40 good cuts, depending on how you shape the plant and how much space you dedicate to it. Um, I totally agree with you talking about the larger root system, drinking more water, managing a larger mother plant is just a pain in the ass for a number of reasons. They get woodier, the stems and stuff, so they're harder to bend. Less than 1 foot tall, like candelabra style that you've topped a bunch of times. That's another thing is like topping and maintaining and doing a little bit of low stress or tying so that it's just got more of a flat top and access to shoot more tops out. Because essentially that's your game. You're just trying to get as many node sights and things to shoot out as many. You could make a cut from your pinky size. You know, I've taken some real tiny cuts, rooted cuts, and then they grow up in a couple days to a 6 inch, 7 inch, 8 inch tall plant, and you're giving them away to your friends. So I think people overestimate the size for home grow their mother plant will need to be. There's a few good forums from back in the day of solo cut moms and bonsai moms and things like that to help you kind of shape and sculpt and bend the plant to get maximize your cuts in a small place or a small pot. But I'm curious if Tao has any thoughts on maximizing his mother plant and doing it in the heat.
Yeah, like Spartan. I don't keep big moms. I rotate constantly, and yeah, I just try to keep all my plants in a good temperature and not just a mom plant. So I'm gonna be getting an AC unit that hopefully will do the job in the spot I'm in now. And yeah, that's what I do. And yeah, there's definitely a certain spot, like Spartan was saying, if you got an older plant and you get a cut off of it, put it in, get it to take root, and put it in a new container. There's like a sweet spot of revigorous rejuvenation, and there's a stint when the new soil where the plant is just as healthy as it's going to be, unless you're Brandon Russ, then it's healthy all the way through to the end. But yeah, during that time when it's in a smaller container and it's healthy, that's when I like to take my clones and yeah, that is I think an underrated point that should be made more often. That if you want easy cloning clones, you got to have a healthy plant to take them off of. It makes a world of difference. It really does.
What do you guys think about the idea? I think Noah V. Groa and many others do this. Instead of keeping mothers, they just take a few cuts off the healthy plant before flip and then use that as the next generation.
That's essentially what I do.
Yeah, yep. That's basically what I do too. I take pieces off the plant when you're shaping it to go into flower. You can take cuts off of it then. But and another, uh, if your goal is for like 50 cuts that are going to be the same, then you need a bigger plant with consistent sized cuts that you take. You know, all the same size in the same kind of configuration, 1 or 2 nodes, whatever it's going to be, so that they're all, relatively similar in size and shape when you put them into flower for that monocrop.
Or even like if you just had a strain you wanted to get out there. Like I've had a couple strains that maybe not to do a whole monocrop, but just to, give away a bunch of like cherry pie or J1 or whatever good cut I had at the time to a bunch of friends. Just dedicate a mother to that and then have it just spitting out. But even then, I just feel like it's hard to justify in already small space limited home grows using more space for something that is only going to produce predominantly veg material. You know, the name of the game is maximizing our flower space and minimizing our veg space, keeping them healthy, getting it moving to the next generation. And in the case where you take it off the bottom, um, it's like as quick as you can get them to root and start vegging. There's not really a mother process. It's just like a clone process at that point. I guess for breeding, some people really want to lock down and isolate, and maybe they have like a mother plant at their mom's house, their actual mother's house, or like their brother's house or their sister's house in case like who knows, power goes out, maybe they get a root aphid infestation or whatever. Like I think a lot of the people that have stuff like Chem lost the Chem 91, but because he put it out there, he's gotten it back. And so I think there's something to that. It's like if you really love something, you kind of got to set it free or put it out into the community. And then that way it'll kind of cement it and allow it to stick around.
GG4, Josie Wales is a good example of that. He traveled around to the different cups and hit all these different states and spread GG4 far and wide.
Kyle
That's
Cushman,
part of
Strawberry
it.
Cough.
Yeah, strawberry cough.
It's
That's a
another
good
one.
point too.
Wouldn't be here today if it weren't for him because otherwise it'd just be in some little crew in some little field in the middle of nowhere that no one would have ever heard of, really. This kind of traveling guy who just was real generous. He sold the flower or whatever, but I just heard him say again, he's never really sold clones. He just gave them out. And good on him. Fucking keeping an amazing cut alive and spreading it around. And in that case, like he didn't even breed it, and he never really claims to. A lot of people give him the credit because people say Kyle Cushman strawberry cough because he's the one who gave it to him. You know, he's the one who got it out there, or
Yeah.
he's the one who gave it to the person who gave it to you. You know, so hats off to him. And he did work with Sub. They were like I think they called themselves the Dank Brothers when they did crosses. And one of my
Yeah.
favorite crosses was Strawberry Daiquiri. Still to this day, I think some of the best flower I've ever grown. That's a cut I wish I would have kept. My new thing with starting with Project V, I am going to keep cuts of everything I pop, at least for the next generation of grow. Like I'll have it in a veg area, even in a little solo cup. That's what I'm going to dedicate this mother show. I'm going to dedicate at least.
Oh, cut out right in the middle. Oh, he's come back.
I got to cut out early because I have some stuff that I have to do also.
All right, man. Well, shout out where people can reach you at, and it was good talking to you, man. We'll see you next.
Yeah, we got Micro Plus on sale right now, 30% off, so you can get a liter for $19.99 right now.
That's
Oh.
my favorite product from Brandon, I will say. I like a
Yeah.
lot of it, if not all of his stuff, but that's my favorite one.
20
Yeah,
bucks.
it's on
Jump on
sale.
that.
So good deal if you guys want to scoop that. But yeah, you can find me on IG and BokashiEarthworks.net. But I gotta go early and I gotta take care of some stuff. So I'll talk to you guys next time.
Thank you, Brandon.
Peace out, Brandon. Have a good one, kid.
Later,
See you,
guys.
Brandon. What the hell were you saying, Jack? It was something fucking exciting. Now you cut out.
I was just saying every time I pop a new seed now, I'm gonna keep a cut for at least like the next two grows because I've had so many things come and go that I just sort of let slip through my fingers that I thought like, oh, yeah, this is pretty good or like, whatever. But I just think it's easier to keep mothers. I guess the whole plant count thing is a problem, but
Yeah.
in terms of, I don't know, you can consider it all hemp at this point.
I was just gonna ask you, like, what's the hemp law there, Jack? Because that's what cuts are. They're hemp.
Yeah, it's looser for sure. And I'm not really worried. Nobody come in all the several years of me growing, nobody's ever came and checked my plant count. So I'm not gonna start worried about it now.
I haven't heard of too many like enforced like so and so was busted for being over on their plant count. It's always, so and so had a ton of this or that, and it's like
I've
okay,
actually gotten several years, like my doctor will give me a limits exemption because I'm like, I have arthritis. I'm trying to like search for a strain that better helps it. And so I want to pop a lot of seeds. I want to go through a lot of stuff really quickly. And I can't do that with 6 plants at a time. If I pop 100, I can narrow that down way quicker, or 50 or 30 or whatever. And she's like, go ahead. And then it's like garden to the size of patient's needs. And then I can just grow as much as I need. And so I did that for a couple years and probably gonna reconsider doing that again this year.
I was just gonna say, you telling me you have a license, but you can fucking grow as many fucking strains as you fucking want to grow.
My problem
You
is
have, wait a minute,
legal space is space. Like I
did you
don't have
have,
the property. I need to get
did
more
you,
property.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of property that a lot of people just aren't on. I mean, you're remediating it by putting it on there. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's all just the way you look at things.
I will say you'll be in competition with some pretty harsh, nasty people. I've been out in the national forest looking for turkeys, and I've seen some high caliber rifle rounds out there that aren't for hunting, and some little grows set up out there, and some remnants of some grows that were set up out there.
Well, then you don't set up there. Oh man, they caught up to him. I don't know. If I had a license to grow as many strains as I wanted to, I don't even have to have the property. I'd grow it in my house in some rooms. You know what I mean? What about in your house in rooms, Jack? I see you're back now. I know you can hear me. Instead of having property somewhere, how about in a house in some rooms? How about rent another house just for the grow? I don't know, man. I would be. That's like
If the costs were like they were back when I first started growing in the 2000s, I would do that. It'd be more rational. It's just the price of like, unless I was like a big time breeder or something, had a big following that was justified, like making a bunch of seeds and selling a bunch of seeds, or like there's just it's tough
that not
to.
possible. That's a possibility. You could sell seats. Isn't that a possibility, Jack?
It is. I
Not
mean,
already set up for that
I do a very, very small amount of that, and
now,
I'll just
but
say
if you had well, let me ask. This is hypothetically speaking, obviously. Hypothetically speaking, if there was a demand for said seeds, you could probably, give up some of other responsibilities that you have now, as long as that demand was enough to offset the cost, right?
it's funny. I was actually thinking kind of about this today. The problem is I actually love my job, like my actual day job. Love my
Okay.
business,
How many
and
hours out of the day does that take up?
it depends on the day. 12 hours some days.
Damn, 12 hours some days? That's
Yeah.
rough. How many days off of that a week do you have?
I mean, if I'm here, it's 0 days off.
Oh, really? So you have to work 7 days a week?
Yeah.
Damn, dude, you must love your job because I wouldn't
It ain't
want
work if you
any
love it, brother.
jobs.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
One day I have like a Saturday. I only
Hey,
have a 2 hour
I love
shift in
my
the morning.
job. I love my job, but I refuse to work on the weekend. I went through it a couple times, round and round with him on it, but we've come to an agreement.
And I will say, admittedly, at this point, I do a 2 hour shift Saturday morning, and then I get off, and then me and Lady G spend the day together for the rest of the day. Like we went
Oh,
and got
that's good.
coffee,
I
walked
like
around
that.
downtown, took her out for a nice dinner and some ice cream, and we're gonna go
Oh
get
yeah.
ice cream after she makes some dinner tonight. We're on a little ice cream
Nice.
kick.
Oh yeah, man, that's the season for it, especially if it's getting warm like you're saying
It
out there.
is. It's been hot, and it hits a spot.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of the food they say is bad for us isn't so bad for us. So yeah, I'm down with the
The
ice
place we
cream.
went last
I'm
night, everything
picking
was
it
made
up.
from scratch, fucking old school. It was crazy. There was like a line. We just had eaten at
Mhm.
this place, and then like right next door there was a gelato shop, and the line was literally like around the corner, and it was like right at the bottom of the steps where we walked out of our restaurant. And I was like, "Fuck it, we're not in any rush." We kind of had an early dinner. The sun was setting. It was a beautiful night, and we dressed appropriately so we were comfortable. Waited probably no joke 30 to 45 minutes to get this gelato, but it was banging. And, I don't know. I'm with you, Tao. I think a lot of the stuff they say is unhealthy. We end up finding out is healthy for you.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
fats. Oh, the whole no fat thing was
Butter,
such a, yeah, butter,
butter
milk.
for sure. Yeah, butter. They said was bad for you. It's probably the healthiest thing for you. And salt too. They say salt is all
Bad
bad.
for you.
And you know what? Like someone pointed out on an IG clip, when you get into an ambulance, what's the first thing that they stick in your arm? It's something called a saline solution, which is salt water. I don't like what that. I don't get
Oh, I
that
was
at
gonna
all.
say tranquilizer.
Oh, maybe when you get in an ambulance, smart, they got to put a tranquilizer on you. But
Saline
yeah,
solution is to hydrate you. It's because of electrolytes, essentially.
yeah. So, yeah, I kind of under the impression, and I'm no doctor, but I think salt's probably not bad for you at all. You probably
It's
need it
not.
in your
I
body.
had a,
There you go. Yeah.
it depends. It depends how bad your heart is. But I had a client who had like this rare disease, and they're like, he needed more salt, and like essentially, eventually they figured it out. But and there's again another comedian who had something like that. He's like, the doctor's like, your sodium's too low. He's like, so I should eat more salt, and the doctor's like, no, it's not that simple. And then like they went back and forth on it for a while, and then eventually he just ate more salt, and it ended up curing the problem. So
Yeah.
sometimes it can be that simple. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
It's good to listen to your body, I think.
Yeah. That's what I say too. Eat when you're hungry, not when they tell you to eat. Go to sleep when you're tired. But yeah, people
But
don't
if you're
have
one of
that
those people that
ability.
if you eat when you're hungry every time and you're extremely morbidly obese, I think like maybe it's time to shift the diet and get a little exercise in because um,
Yeah, good point.
I do work in the fitness space and I will tell you, even just being overweight, not even obese, just a little overweight, that cuts your life expectancy by like 20 to 25 years. And it increases diabetes, heart attack, stroke risk, and just a few minutes, like 15, 30 minutes to maybe an hour a day of physical activity
or
can overcome
smoking
so much.
or rolling joints. I mean, that's physical activity, man. You could you could stand up and roll that joint instead of sitting down. And if you look at actually, there's actually science behind it that cannabis smokers on average, have a lower BMI than non-cannabis smokers. So there's something to it, and I think it's because there's that the effect, like that sativa effect, like people with that classic sativa effect, that will increases your heart rate, man. It literally increases your heart rate. It increases your metabolism. It does, of course, also gets you eating a lot of times. But I think if your metabolism is increased and it gets you up and going, you tend to burn more of those calories.
It balances out. It's literally like a formula they figured out. If you burn more calories than you eat, you lose weight. Like somebody, I think Shane Gillis was like, there's never been a concentration camp where people were overweight, right? It's because they're chronically starved. Nobody in there is like, well, I have a rare genetic this or that. It's like, well, they're overworking them and underfeeding them, and they always get skinny as fuck, right? So it's like it can be that simple. Unfortunately, some people obviously have it way harder than others at losing it. So I'm not trying to say that that doesn't exist. It obviously does, and also the food that's available in a lot of places. Like I admittedly have way better access. I'm way healthier in Southern California than I was in Ohio. Where I was at in Ohio, we didn't have great access. Where my family lives now, they actually have better access. They're closer to farms. I was kind of in a suburb and not quite a food desert, but shit, we ate a lot of fast food and we had a lot of garbage and a lot of that processed stuff at the middle of the grocery store that a lot of people eat. And so um, until you have maybe the knowledge or the access, like good farmers markets and good quality food and produce, it's like the healthy food here actually tastes really good and it's widely available and semi-affordable depending on where you go. Funny enough, the actual farmers markets are the most affordable places now that I've noticed. Buying it directly from the freaking farmer, which I used to be like, oh man, I'm splurging. When I was in college and like broke, I'd go to the farmers market maybe once a month and like ball out on some good fruit, some fucking whatever, you know. Whoever had the good specialty stuff, I'd try it. And but now, that's like kind of a staple, getting it from local sources as much as possible. You get better deals. Buy kind of, I do weekly now to get better freshness on stuff. And it's just, it'll change your life. I think people underestimate the amount of food and exercise and even like staying hydrated, uh, both water and like the electrolytes. It can be medicine or fuel for your body and allow you to even better enjoy the cannabis. Like if you don't have as much inflammation for the cannabis to take care of, I think more of it goes to just the enjoyable fun elements of getting high.
And yeah, and if you're looking to up your medicinal game with cannabis, one of the cheapest, easiest ways to do so, it's cheap home grow now, is look for a good source of hemp and mix that in with what you're already doing. And it could be mixed in, like you can make your own edibles. That's an easy way to do it. Like I haven't found a lot of hemp that I really enjoy smoking, honestly, but it doesn't mean that's my only way of bringing it in, right? So I can just take that hemp flower and treat it like you would THC flower, and you can infuse it into oils and fats or alcohol or whichever way you want to go with it. And you can do the same kind of things. I have, and still continue. Actually, Emily is making, I've shown her how to make RSO, and she's been making it lately too. But she's been making a lot of CBD RSO from hemp. And so, if you make it separately like that, it makes
Like
it,
high CBD hemp, like actual hemp.
yeah, like 20 to like cherry wine hemp. You know what I mean? Like
Because
20.
I've been getting some THCA hemp. That's really, it's
Yeah,
only
that's the,
hemp by law. Like I smoke this shit.
yeah.
It's just like weed. It gets you stoned. It tastes good. It gets you high as fuck. It's
Yeah,
like
low
literally,
concentration of THCA. Very, very low. Not, yeah. And the point of it is it makes it easy. Instead of trying to find that strain that's a 1-to-1 or whatever to whatever, you don't have to figure out any of that bullshit. You just make your THC oil, you make your high CBD oil, and then you can mix it to whatever ratio you want. And so that's what we're doing. And we're finding that with the CBD, when you add the CBD in with the THC, is we do see one downside is it does seem to delay the onset of the high. Like I've noticed that especially like like it doesn't hit me as quickly, but the high is extended like greatly. Like it doesn't magnify the high. Like I don't feel like I'm any higher, but I feel like I'm higher for way the hell longer. So that was an interesting development that I've noticed, Emily's noticed, and a few other people now that tried it. So like, for example, if I was going to take a half a gram of RSO THC RSO, and I will take a half a gram of THC RSO and maybe at least another half a gram of CBD RSO, if not more, of the CBD. And yeah, and it's just fucking. I have to believe too that there's something to do with the entourage effect, not just with the added CBD, because this is CBD flower, it's not CBD isolate. So it's going to come with the other terpenes and it's going to come with other cannabinoids.
Full spectrum CBD works way
Yeah,
better.
yeah, and that's what it is. And it's mixed too. So like when I make my THC or RSO, I use multiple cultivars of high THC. I do the same thing with the CBD. Shout out to Living Euphoric Farms. She sent us out a bunch of her last year's. She's like, hey, I got some last year's flower that I just want to get rid of. I don't feel comfortable selling it. Can you do anything with it? We're like, oh, yes, please. Send it on out. And so we mixed multiple strains of CBD together and ran that into. So yeah, talk about full spectrum. When you mix those
That's
two oils together,
in
yeah.
honor of Rick Simpson too. He recommended 5 strain mix for the high THC. So with CBD, it makes sense just to kind of stay in that honor. And I do think it provides, if one strain having a broad terpene profile makes it have a nice entourage effect, why wouldn't 5 strains be better? It's just more keys that can potentially be unlocked in that person to benefit their health. And it's like,
It's like
unless you
making a
found
master. It's
one
like
is purely better for one reason or another.
yeah, in my mind, it's more like I look at cannabinoids. I look at, we'll just say plant compounds, um, as the little keys to try to unlock that lock that we're looking for whatever the ailment. And so when I'm making these oils, what I'm doing is I'm just making a master key. I'm just trying to get all of them. I'm just gonna try to hit it with all the keys.
That's the
So
hack.
you know what I mean?
That's why
So
cannabis is so good. Even just so a single strain, having so many hundreds of minor cannabinoids, flavonoids, esters, aldehydes, ketones, like even everybody who smoked one joint and enjoyed it knows like it taps a bunch of keys. And we have 2 cannabinoid systems, like the CB1 and the CB2. We got multiple cannabinoid systems within us. And so from our toes to the tips of our hair, we can flourish those receptors with CBD, THC, and lots of other stuff. And there is entourage effect from terpenes that are not even exclusive to cannabis. I find rosemary has great pinene. I love pulling a little bit off and rubbing it between my fingers after I smoked a little bit and just smelling it in my hands. And it's like, ooh, like I'm a little clearer, a little bit more sharp. And you don't need to have a high pinene strain immediately available. You can supplement with that or even an essential oil, uh, perfume, cologne, whatever it is. I love reading the perfumes now and seeing all the terpenes. Some of them have them on the side.
it's cool to see. You can even get there's cleaners. Terpenes are used for cleaners too. You can see that.
Frigoli uses D-limonene to clean his machines when he makes BHO, and he says it's better than the alcohol. He gets like
Yeah,
000 now on his ppm.
yeah, because he was tracking down, he was getting residual solvents. And he's like, this bullshit. I clean the fuck out of this. How is that? And he realized it was what he was cleaning. He was cleaning with isopropyl alcohol. And that was enough to leave. Which gives me a great sense that as a consumer, that in the state of Michigan, the testing is so minute that it's picking up like this guy using isopropyl alcohol to clean out his cylinder, and that's getting picked up as residual solvents. It still was passing, but he wasn't happy seeing the number there. He wanted 0, and so for his pursuit to 0, he realized, oh, so it's my actual solvent, so I got to find a different solvent, or not. I mean, that's what he not this, yeah, not a solvent, but his what he was using to clean with. So he said, I got to find a different way to clean. He found out that terpenes can be used to clean. Boom, that was the
Terpenes can be solvents, technically. You can
yeah,
strip paint.
exactly.
If you get a high enough concentration of, I think, limonene or pinene, they can be used as paint thinners. They're used to like pine sol is used to clean floors.
Yeah.
So it's effective.
Terpenes are solvents, I would say.
Yeah,
So,
turpentine is that's some
so,
sort of something.
It's a mix of pinene and
so,
terpinene, I think, or something.
so
When
you
they
could you can make an argument to the next time you're in with connoisseurs and they're saying this is my solventless concentrate. You'd be like, but there's no terps in it? That's what the fuck? Get that out of here, man.
true. It is funny to think even water is a solvent, and a lot of people don't want to admit that because it's like it's the it's considered the universal solvent, literally, when you look into solvents, because so many things dissolve into water. But yeah, The
Yep.
last interesting fact I can think of with terpenes is in Japan, they did a study where they used the traditional sterilization methods for their tools on like floor 2. And on floor 3, they used limonene to clean off all the tools. Infection rate on the limonene floor went to like 0. And so the whole hospital switched over. Like these traditional techniques, the like heat sterilization, the alcohol, this and that, wasn't as effective because they found, like for Growley or others, like if you make it, nature abhors a vacuum. So when you get rid of all the stuff, eventually being in a hospital, some dirty, nasty stuff's going to go around and get back on it. And keeping it clean with something that has antibacterial, antimicrobial properties like limonene has multiple benefits. And we always read about it, like if you read about terpenes or whatever, but it's easy to like just think, oh yeah, like it's labeled that, but does it really actually do it? Turns out, yeah, it actually fucking does. Like the science is real. Like the stuff is very effective.
And it's aroma. I would have been interested. I don't know if they probably didn't, but it'd have been interesting to see if they studied like any of the aroma therapy benefits of it, because the alpha pinene is going to smell a lot better than most of the other disinfectants, and I wonder if that had any effect on the patient's either recovery or attitudes or anything.
There's lots of science and research on aromatherapy, tons and tons and tons, from memory research to mood research to, lots of stuff. So you're right that even in other settings they have found, and I've talked about the Japanese, I think call it Shinrin Yoku. It's Japanese forest bathing where they're just walking through a forest, like found huge benefits for people's health, just inhaling the pinene from trees and stuff like that. And having been hiking out in the forest recently, there's lots of other benefits. The sunshine, being out in nature, it humbles you a bit. And seeing birds and animals and fucking coming across tracks of different things. There's something primal about it. Just being outside, being in nature, feeling that sun on your skin or getting a little breeze. I got hailed on, I got snowed on. I had a crazy spring here in California, up in the mountains, but it was a good time. I think it's an interesting reminder that the plants live through that stuff, and in many places like Afghanistan and others, they grow them up in mountains like that, and they go through those harsh weather. So it's easy for us to get in our head about, oh man, it dropped into the 60s in my grow room, like my plant's gonna be fucked. It's like, dude, it gets to like the 30s a lot of places and it survives. It lives long enough to make hash. So at worst, you'll be able to make some hash, But at best, you'll probably still have some good smoke, maybe a little bit less of it, maybe not as good of a flavor potentially, but shit happens. So even if it gets too hot, as it might be right now, you might get a rolling blackout. That shit still happens, believe it or not. Uh, Not very often in California, I will say. I can only remember a couple times here where we've had like random blackouts. It's usually planned when they're doing maintenance in a certain area, and they'll let you know like 2 months ahead. Hey, we're gonna turn the power off for 8 hours or 12 hours or something on this
Let's
date.
fucking move immediately. Fuck that. My power better not go off just because they fucking too many people are using it. Fuck that. I'm too close to people then. I need to move. What are you talking about? That's insane. I
It
don't know.
wasn't that too many people using it. It was like they're working on something in your area, like a pole in your
Oh, I
neighborhood.
guess that's yeah, okay. That's more acceptable. I thought you were
That
saying it's
was
like blackouts and shit because they just couldn't like the grid was overtaxed or something.
No, that has happened though historically, and it will still continue to. I mean, Texas had blackouts a few years ago during snow
Oh,
and cold.
that's a whole nother issue that they had.
Yeah.
They're not even on our grid. That's why, because they want to be independent, which I'm not hating on them. I used to live in Texas, but yeah, they have their own power system, so that's the state-run system, and
They're very
doesn't
independent
let it fall. Yes, they are.
in a lot of ways, and in some ways that bites you. It's a double-edged sword, independence. And I think we're seeing that a lot of ways with current situations around the globe, trying to be ultra independent sometimes when we've been a pretty global economy for a long time has consequences that certain businesses and people are going to feel a lot more than others. I don't want to make it about politics, but it does impact people's grows, and um, it does kind of make you think about where you're sourcing things from.
Yeah, it makes you
Cocoa,
think about earthworms and regenerative farm. Makes me think about that kind of stuff. Regenerative farming.
a lot of people point to like cocoa as like the more sustainable option, but a lot of it's imported from India, where yeah, there's imports from Canada, there's tariffs and taxes and stuff like that. There is peat that you can get within the US that's already here. And I used my last bag of peat for like years, several years before just now getting another bag to replace it. But if you reamend, I think
Hmm.
peat in a home grow setting is pretty damn sustainable. I literally went 5+ years countless cycles and very, 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 very little cost. I mean, I bought a big bag of a few different amendments and top dressed them a few times when I transplant in, and it rocked and rolled for a long time. Like my flavor is just a little bit off, so I'm kind of going to reset it. That's the only reason. Like I haven't really suffered major yield loss. Everything's just kind of tasting a little bit the same, and I'm like, I want uh, a fresh start on my soil. So, and one of my last harvests, I had some kind of pink stuff in my root. So I think there must have been sort of fungal pathogen or something maybe going on. I'm assuming it's a pathogen, but who knows? It could have been a beneficial. Who knows? But I also got hooked up. Shout out to Resurrection Prophet. He hooked me up with some of my favorite soil. He just, what's your address? I'm gonna hook you up with some soil. All right, fucking hell yeah, man. I'll take it. And so I was gonna think about using a local soil. Like there's a lot of people that make it around here and do a good job. So I wanted to give one of them a shot. But then I got generously blessed with some bags of that and also some of the Papa's Perfect Poop. So shout out to Michigan Made Mix and
Nice.
Resurrection Prophet hooking me up.
Yeah, shout out Resurrection Prophet, man.
He's out
Yeah.
there in Michigan now, I think. He was
Yeah.
a California guy for a while.
Yep, he's in Michigan. I don't know if I think he's still here in Michigan. Last
He's
I
got, I
heard.
think, property, maybe family property or something up there. He sent me a video of some turkey in his backyard. So
Oh, he's using turkey. Nice. There's turkey all over up here, man. I mean, I live pretty close to town, and I still fucking see turkey right around me. I'm like, what the hell are they doing?
they're all around like the city and they're all around private property out in like the forest. They know there's like bobcats and coyotes and red-tailed hawks. Like I called one in like 40 yards away from me. It was coming up right over this little ridge. And this red-tailed hawk just swooped in and tried to fucking get it and just fucking ran the other way. So right before it got in my range, it's like not happening, buddy. But yeah, it's a lot easier to live in the private land where the people feed you and leave water out for their dogs and other pets. So it's easy life
I'm
in
not trying
Michigan
to
or
derail us from cannabis, I promise people, but I I have noticed this, and I am curious. Do you notice it out there? I think there's been a huge increase in hawks. Like I've not seen the amount of hawks that I've seen in the last couple of years. It's been insane the amount of hawks.
I've also been seeing both red-tailed hawks and red-shouldered hawks here, and like in areas that I haven't been seeing, like Beach City. Like I saw one on my power line by the coast, like 2 minutes away from the sand. It's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And I had another friend post one. She's not too far away from me, and I love the calls they do, man. The fucking screams, the fucking hawk screams are
Oh
so
yeah.
crazy.
Oh yeah. I was walking the dogs one time and I came around the corner and there's this big open field and then a forest line past the field and there's a hawk sitting at the top of a tree and I didn't know it was there until we come around the corner and it did just what you're talking about, those big high-pitched screams. And I look over and I'm like, what the fuck? It's like the shit you hear on the movies, but I never really experienced it like that in real life being that close. He still wasn't that far away from me. He was fairly close, and that's I can see why that would scare the shit out of you if you were a little mouse or something.
I had two or three of them flying less than 50 feet above me on the side of this mountain, and they just like were both letting off. Something was around there, and man, it's an awesome call. People think that's the bald eagle sound. Bald eagles have kind of a weird little chirpy sound. The red-tailed hawk is what has a kind of like real loud, booming scream, and even the red-shouldered hawks have a pretty epic screaming.
The bald eagles here are fucking. I'm sure they are everywhere, but obviously the bald eagle, that's a terrifying animal, man. That's a big ass fucking animal.
They're huge. I've seen them swoop down to the water and catch fish with their talons and like pull them out on the side of the lake and just start going to town. They are definitely capable.
They find all kinds of fucking leashes and dog collars and shit like that up in the nests up north here.
I believe it. I will say it's like you were saying that it will scare off a lot of the I think even like wild turkeys and other stuff can be pests to your cannabis garden. They'll come in and dig up scare off that small bullshit is nice for your cannabis garden because then maybe less fencing is needed. I like a lot of there's some people out there that do like the permaculture style where they have like flowers or bamboo or like natural fencing kind of thing where you can grow things that
Yeah.
will prevent animals from trotting through or
My biggest things I worry about are deer and people if I have an outdoor cannabis garden, to be honest with you. And the
not wrong to
people,
worry about those.
yeah, and people are at the top of the list, honestly.
That
But
is
you know
certainly
what? The pest control answer works for both of them. It's a shotgun.
Buckshot.
Exactly.
Dave Chappelle has a great bit about his first gun, buying it, and like when he went to get it, and everybody should definitely go watch that. There's even like a little animated versions of it out there. But shout out to Dave Chappelle. Lives in Ohio now, but not natively from there. I know he's a little controversial for some people, but like that's a funny one.
He's good. I think he's overly pretty good guy.
I think so too. He's been at it for a long ass time. He started when he's like in his teens. So a lot of people don't realize he's like on the street just like performing with like a hat, uh,
Yep.
busking for a buck, and you work long and hard and you're funny as hell. You end up making it. So good on him.
Good on anybody that can make somebody else smile, especially, well, hell, it doesn't matter what time. I was gonna say especially these times, but it don't matter what time. Anytime you can make someone smile, that's pretty cool.
Laughter is medicine. That's part of the reason cannabis is so fun. If you get somebody nice and stoned, you can get them the giggles, or just at least a little bit more likely to be in that mood to have the giggles or watch a funny movie and things are a little funnier. I think that's part of the Willie Nelson said stress is one of the number one killers, so cannabis is one of the best medicines. There's
Dude,
a lot to that.
I've seen a lot of clips where these old people getting their first gummy, and they're just like, yeah, like it's like they're tripping on acid, just laughing, dude. And I'm just like, and the I guess it was his daughter's like, Dad, what about the stress? Stress, what stress? And he just starts laughing, and yeah, it's just like you can just see what a difference, yeah, cannabis can make, and yeah,
It can look like a miracle drug when you see those videos, whether it's somebody
yep,
who is shaking from a
yep.
seizure, stopping, to a elderly person just giggling, not thinking about their stress or their pain or whatever it is, just having a good ass time and like thinking like how many years they went without using it because all the stigma potentially, and they were afraid of this or that, and now they get that first gummy. I've even seen like first bong hit, like there's like these videos of like grandma's first bong hit, or whatever, and they like show like everybody coming in and taking little rips of the bong, and a lot of them ended up fucking liking it. So my grandmother-in-law, she smokes joints with us whenever I am in town out there. So shout out to her and my mother-in-law who also smokes joints with us.
I'm super proud to say that I've smoked with my dad a lot of times, and I have smoked with my mom a lot of times, but I've also gave my mom her first dab as well. In fact, I think I've given her her only dabs in her life, and they're the smallest dabs ever, but I'm so proud of her. I'm like, Mom, you've dabbed now. You're official. And she did, and it's funny because she still does it. She's still scared to even call it cannabis or anything. She calls it her code word for me is it's cereal. So she'll call me and say, "Oh, I'm getting low on cereal, Russ." You know. Okay, Mom.
That's hilarious, dude. We've had so many names over the years. Some people we called it cheese, we called it happiness. Yo, you got any happiness? I forget what else we used to call it, but yeah, there's a lot. You got the Mott's when they had that Mott's commercial, the
Green,
applesauce.
dank, nug.
You got the Mott's. Yeah, I got the Mott's. Let's go.
There's been so many code words for it over the years. I think cereal's funny because it makes me think of bowls, and that's how I like to consume my
Yeah.
cannabis.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Pretty easy. It was funny because I just saw the Jeff Rowe put in chat that cereal milk, yo. And I was growing a cereal milk cross for a while there. And it was funny when she would ask for cereal when I had that, and I'm like, I'm not growing it yet, Mom. Is that what you got right there? Can't see it. I can't read
It
it.
is cereal milk. I don't know. Yeah, it's cereal milk dry sift rosin
Oh,
from
nice.
Cannabiotics. This is some fucking real good shit. I was getting my tires rotated, and there's a little dispensary across the street, and I had some time to kill, so I walked across the street just to check out the local wares, and got a couple eighths and a little gram of some dry sift rosin for me and Lady G to check out. And most of it's good. The one strain, not a big fan, but all the rest of the stuff's been good. And got some J1, which is fun because I know the guy, well, the crew who fucking made it. So I always tell the bud tenders that, and they're like, mind is blown. I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, and I do feel weird when I go to the dispensary spending money, but occasionally I like to explore my curiosity, get a few decent, uh, the best stuff that they can provide, which is like a overpriced eighth in a glass jar with some fancy labeling and packaging. But I've figured out because we get so much free shit from my wife when she was in the industry for being a purchaser, that I got to figure out who is actually like good and who sucks, so I don't waste my money when I go into the store. So like if you ever come to California and you're looking for decent shit, I can kind of point you in the right direction. A few people have been like, "Hey, I'm gonna be there. What would you suggest buying?" And like Cannabiotics is one that I can CBX. That's one I can highly recommend. They like breed their own shit. They do it like how Spartan and fucking
Forge.
at the Trichome Forge, you're doing it with Baked Pone over there. Like they pheno hunt their own shit. They'll make their own crosses and then grow their own crosses. That's fucking unheard of in the legal cannabis space to like risk doing that. That's what when I've consulted with farms, I got so far as I bought all these genetics. We're gonna make these crosses.
Ah, I was leaning in on that one.
I was gonna say that, but I want to hear that one. He's gonna have to repeat.
Yeah, damn.
And I can finish eating my cookie too.
But I must say that since I've been in Pennsylvania and I went to the dispensary, yeah, well, I didn't really even go, but there's so many choices. It is very valuable to know which ones you should go for sure.
Yeah, it's
I
hard.
figured it out. Yeah.
Hard to figure out what is the good stuff because all the packaging is flashy. It all look good. But then like a lot of shit is you buy once and then and never buy it again, which is when you're only in town for a little bit of time and you're spending up to like 50, maybe $60 an eighth or something. Not a fun whack-a-mole trying to figure out which one's actually good. But yeah, Cannabiotics, I was kind of gushing over them and how they breed their own shit. Like they got the cereal milk from Limited Trees Genetics, which is like a small breeder. Most of you guys probably haven't even heard of them. And I hadn't heard of them until I fucking tried their shit because it was so good. I was like, wait, this actually tastes like cereal milk. Great high, great flavor, all around just fire. Then they started breeding it to everything, to their Super Silver Haze, to their Mountain Kush. So they have like mountain cereal, Super Silver cereal, and all these different things. They actually did it themselves. They fucking put the thing to the other thing, and now they have this own exclusive thing that all these other people would love to have. They don't sell cuts. They don't let their shit out. They keep their shit high and tight and good on them. It's one of the rare examples. They sell out, they only sell glass jar ace or edibles. And like their smalls go to edibles. I think it's called hiatus or something, and their edibles are pretty good. But this isn't like a fucking chill out brand for them. But like if you do want to try some good flower in the California market, that's one that you could have a pretty high success rate with. Also,
they
shout out to
only-
this new one, No Till Kings. They got a little worm on there. They do everything no till. That's how I grow. So shout
Are
out to
they
the No Till
only in
Kings.
Cali or in other states? you know?
CBX was in Vegas for a while, but I think they shut that down when they got their Cali license. I don't know if they've gone back to Vegas. They started there, but they're originally from California. They started in Vegas to understand the regulation. Then they moved here once they got like their feet underneath them, like how we can do it in the legal market. But they're like kind of more like a Jungle Boys, I'd say, like out of the traditional market, like doing like family owned small batch.
I think that's, I mean, I avoid, honestly, dispos. I don't really go there, but if I do go there, I'm usually searching for like maybe an edible or something like that. Or maybe a concentrate, but the prices are too high for me. Um, for the amount that I want. And but this flower is usually not what I go to dispo. It's like one of the last things I'm gonna go to dispo for. But if I were somewhere like, I don't know, if I was like in a, like I had to fly somewhere and I couldn't bring anything with me, then I can see, yeah, I'd have to just stop into a dispo and just fucking shoot and hope fucking, I landed somewhere good. That would suck.
Like closing your eyes and throwing a dart at the dartboard and just hoping.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Some
don't know
state
how you improve that. I mean, because right now it seems like regulation drives part of it, and then the big part of that is drives that THC is the most important thing, and that has to be labeled, and blah blah blah. And then on the other side of things, you have the consumer driving the other part of it, and the problem with that is the consumer's uneducated. They don't know what they want. I mean, if they knew of other options, they might start asking for it, but they just go by what's in front of them, and they always want something new. Well, that didn't work. I want something new. That didn't work. I want something new. And so that drives a whole nother dynamic of nothing's even what it is said it is anymore because it's always gonna be something new. So they're changing the names. So it's just a big mess. So I'd like to see something like what you're talking about, where a brand can like push away from the mess of fucking uh choices and be like, yeah, we're probably a little bit more expensive than the rest of these other ones, but you're only gonna find us in eighths and everything else you're gonna find in edibles. And we do that for a reason because we're controlling quality. That's something that's gonna catch my attention. You know what I mean? Off the shelf of everything else. So
They do it
I
right.
like that.
I wish more places would focus on that, just like good high quality flour, because a lot of people would pay a little more. It's like they sell out. So proof's in the pudding, right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of uh, misguided business people in general that don't think like you want to be Lamborghini where you don't even have to do commercials and people want your stuff. But a lot of it is marketing, and then yeah, once you try it once, you never go back. But I was just gonna say that like in the restaurant business or whatever, um, I was thinking like when you go to a dispensary, you ask the bud tender what's good. They're probably going to tell you the stuff they want to get rid of. You know, that's what one restaurant I worked in. They're like, yeah, we got too much of this. Push it, push it. So
That's the
I,
new special.
yeah, yeah. Or yeah,
There is some
it's
element of that.
borderline getting to where it's going to be expired. So yeah, we got to get rid of this stuff. You know, I can see
I
that
love that
happening
we
at the
can sniff it
dispensary
again.
too.
For a
Oh,
while
there
we
you
couldn't
go. Yeah,
smell.
we can.
We can smell before we can buy now, and I'm like, duh. I'm gonna ask, do you have a sniffer jar of that? I was between a J1 and a Jack Colombian or something. Jack, I don't know. It was Jack crossed with some other like heirloom type strain. And I smelled the Jack crossed to the heirloom strain. It smelled like cheese to me, like really cheesy. It didn't smell kind of Jacky at all. Then the J1 smelled great. So I went with the J1. So it's nice to be able to smell an actual example of it. That's I think your nose knows. It's gonna tell you what you like and what you're looking for.
Yeah, I really think there should be a push for eventually. Right now, I still think push for more legalization, like more freedom, but there should be a push to make it deli style. That's what we still see here in Michigan when you go to some events. And I just think there's a whole lot to be said when you can walk up like it was any other kind of fucking herb or a vegetable. You don't just fucking go buy it. Well, maybe some people do, but you don't just go buy a fucking tomato without picking it up and looking at it, right? Why can you not do that with the flour? I understand you don't want contamination and all that, but you should at least have a little jar that you can look at the flour, see what it looks like, open the jar, smell it,
Some
and
dispos have tongs and a little magnifying glass so that
yeah.
like you're kind of back behind glass looking at it and it's straight out in front of you. You could see it crystal clear. You've got tongs or I even saw chopsticks at one. I'm like, some people aren't as good as chopsticks, but I made it work.
Still, I mean, at least it gives you a representation of what you might be getting rather than a picture or a hand drawing or whatever they're required to have on the package.
Sometimes not even that. I think in Canada it's like black, red, or white, and then you can just get like the brand logo in like a little, maybe like 1 by 1 centimeter or 2 by 2 centimeter box or something. Or at least that's how it was for a while.
I would sign up for that though, as long as I still get the ability to do what they get to do, and that's mail their homegrown to their buddies anywhere across the entire country. So I'll take that trade.
That would be
Take
a nice thing to do legally.
yeah. Yeah. To be able, like, could you imagine to not have to worry about it to where you always could just send flour anywhere that it was needed across country? You could have a network of home growers that would take care of each other that wow, you could do a lot of good and put a lot of people out of business real fast. That'd be dangerous. Oh, I froze Jack. I gotta stop talking like that. I've seen I want to shout out to Narwhal up in chat. I haven't seen him in forever, like years in chat, and it's cool to see older names pop back up.
Yeah,
Jack.
speaking of that, Scrub Shrubs was in chat, and I haven't seen him in a long, long time too. So shout out to Scrub Shrubs
Yeah.
and everyone in chat. Actually, it's good to see you guys.
New faces and old ones. Always good.
I'm just trying to catch up. Genetic Memory Farm said that states varied very widely, which yeah, for sure. Like in Illinois, they have 70, 80% of the sales are accounted for by six producers. People shop on money first, but maybe this is still from Prohibition. That's wild too. How is that not? When is it a monopoly? I mean, is there got to be a certain number before it's a monopoly? Because six producers making all of the, well, 80% of the weed in the state. That's hopefully it's good weed.
That's how Ohio wanted it. That's how a lot of them want it. They want a big monopoly. They only want to take taxes from a couple people. They don't want to go chasing down 1,000 different growers.
That's why they don't want home grow.
I know. That's sad. We got to rally against that though.
They were
Exactly.
just having hearings about on Google and Google about antitrust monopoly kind of stuff.
There's definitely arguments to be made about some of these big tech, but in terms of flower, I think we can make huge dents in markets that would otherwise be a lot bigger because our generosity, we're just willing to sacrifice. We don't give a fuck. It's like,
Well,
how do you fight thousands of growers who will literally give it away for free to people in need?
right, right, and they can't even compete,
And we will do it
with labor
without
costs.
permission.
Labor costs too. It's like classically, that's one of our biggest faults as growers. If it's something that you were to go sell on the side, you never even consider the cost of your time, the endless hours you put into. That's not even figured into the cost of it. It's just maybe, the electricity and the physical things like nutrients and shit like that. And then you don't even think about, oh, I spend X amount of, minutes or hours a day. Times that by fucking 4 months or whatever it is.
I once did calculate labor into my costs and like what it would cost me. And it was roughly on par with like what maybe I could buy it for a little bit less. But that was like taking my hourly rate that I was getting paid. And like I wouldn't pay myself although that said, like I love my job and I do get paid for that. So I at the same time would pay myself well and appropriately for what I was doing. Um and I also calculated like minimum wage in my state, like what that would be versus what I typically get paid. And it's an interesting thought because if you do calculate that in, it makes some of the prices make more or less sense depending on what you're paying.
You know, I would think if I had a job where I was cultivating, I would spend a lot less time there. I'd just go do the work I had to do and get out. But in my garden, I want to hang out with the plants and spend time with them. So it'd be hard to figure out how many hours I put into a crop. I think, but it could be done.
Yeah, that's another amazing thing too, is that step when you go from your home garden and then you go and you get a job into the commercial scene, even if it's a small grow, even small grows could be 1,500 plants, man. That's still rooms of hundreds of plants. And when you're used to rooms of tens of plants and you're going to rooms of hundreds of plants or thousands of plants, it's insane to think. Just what I was saying, like I spend a lot of time, and man, I would spend fucking 6, 7 hours sometimes just fucking around all night in a flower room downstairs, just whatever, just defoliating or something, just fucking off. You cannot do that at the
Can't do
commercial
that, right?
scale. No,
Have to
no, it's
be
like you're
grand,
going there at full. I mean, you're in there, lights on,
With a mission,
lights on
right? It's a
100%. You're
mission.
seeing everything. You're in there, fucking going as quick as you can. You're not fucking around.
pruning, sweeping, watering,
Yeah,
checking ppm.
it's a whole different game, whole different ball
Whole
game.
different. Yep.
That's why the weed doesn't taste as good. Prove me wrong. Sorry, I'm not sorry.
Yeah,
I concur.
I think it's possible to grow some good weed and at that scale, but you have to have a team that just gives a shit more than the average, more than 80% of
That's
the
like
not
I was
just
saying,
average.
like with CBX or with Mendo Dope or Green Shock Farms or Green Source Gardens in Vegas. They've got like 38th generation no-till beds. It's just like busting out like 5 to 7% terps in the commercial market. It can be done. It's super rare. And those teams, like that guy was like ex-UFC fighter, and like these guys are like legacy cultivators in the NorCal markets and like, or in this case, Southern California with the CBX. But just like they have a deep lineage and respect and understanding for the plant that's not there in a typical corporate profile. What's like, how can we maximize profits out of this crop? It's not like all right, why does it matter that we have the actual Blue Dream? Like, why does that matter? To them, it doesn't. They're like, well, we have a Blue Dream on the menu. It's good enough. It's like, well, everybody knows it sucks. And then that kind of ruins your brand name. And then when your brand name's ruined, then nobody wants to buy anything else from you. Or like even just choosing Blue Dream maybe makes you look like a amateur or like newbie brand or something because some people hate Blue Dream. So there's lots of considerations. And like Spartan said earlier, there's so much renaming. It makes it almost impossible for the consumer at a lot of times. That's why the growing your own is literally the best avenue. If you buy the seed from a reputable source, you know yourself. As long as you can label a stake and keep it on that plant and label that pot, because I do know a lot of growers have mixed up pots and labels or lost tags and don't know necessarily what they're smoking. They have an idea. Like I popped these seeds, but it's good to know exactly what you're smoking. And then, when you harvested it, how you did it, you can go back and replicate the stuff. It's the beauty of when a team or an individual cares, like Spartan with his 5, 6, 9, however many clones in his stable. I bet you it comes out tasting pretty dang similar each grow. There's probably not a whole bunch of inconsistency there. Same soil, same lighting, same dude re-amending it, same
Better,
dude
or it's gonna
loving
get
all those plants.
replaced. If it's not, it's gonna get replaced by whatever the next best thing is, because I'm always popping new shit too. So if it starts to fade, fuck it. It's gone and I'll come back to it some other time. I don't got time for that shit.
Anybody got time for
Yeah,
that?
I built up tolerance to certain strains, but I kept them anyway. And I was thinking, yeah, this other one's better because it was new. But then when I ended up flowering out that old one, I was like, wow, man, I really forgot how good this was. And
That's
I
why you
think
have
that's an
friends.
issue. Yeah,
That's why you
yeah.
have friends, because before you get rid of one, you're like, yo, I'm getting rid of such and such. You want it? Free.
Yep.
And then if
It's
you want
shocking how often people
okay.
turn down shit, though. I will say, at least in my experience, I've offered, maybe I just have the wrong friends. But like the casual grower is more likely for me to take a fucking great clone than like my buddy who's got a killer operation. And maybe I'm just like not, I'm definitely low guy on the totem pole out here. Like everybody has more experience and more time in the game and bigger operations. So I'm just like the hobby dude doing it. And they'll smoke my flower and love it. Maybe they're just blowing smoke on my ass and say they respect it, but like they'll ask me for more or whatever. And we got a good respect for each other. But when it comes to the actual operation and commercial productions, they know I do shit differently. I'll push shit to like 70 days and beyond if I need to, where maybe they won't. They want to take it like 63 or 54 or something, depending on which guy I'm thinking about. And some of them will take it 63 or 70. One of them, in fact, gave me a clone and said, take it 63 or 70 days. And I did, and it was fire. Speaking about the cherry pie. But a lot more people are looking for the faster stuff, or even if it's not fast, taking it earlier than it should, which there's a lot of letdown buds out there. Like I'm probably, maybe if I came across the right trop cherry that was grown by like a Spartan grown quality person, it would be fire. But I just all the trop cherries I've seen have been.
I haven't even grown drop cherry before, man. I have enjoyed it though, but I have not grown it. I don't know if I would right now. It's not really something in the stable that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for I don't know,
It's
maybe.
interesting. I'd say it's kind of got a rich flavor. It's a little bit heavier on the berry-ish than a lot of other stuff, and it smells nice. It looks nice. It
See,
just
I'm familiar more with chopped cherry. So that one is more like a cherry and pine kind of was the terps that were prominent for me.
definitely citrusy. And my problem is I'm just a chem OG guy, and those things tend to hit a lot harder. So I want like a Donny Burger or even like a GMO. GMO is a mess to grow though, so I'll take the Donny Burger, which is like kind of lanky, but it throws down. I don't know. Has Donny Burger yielded well for you? I know you're lighting up a dab over there, but you could just nod. I see. The Donny Burger seems to be a good yielder, and it's a little more reasonable structure than the GMO. It doesn't get all like I'm gonna grow all over your room type shit. It can just be a good commercial producing plant. That might be in my grow after Brandon's stuff. Is it's gonna be Vortex, Lime from Brandon, and then Donny Burger slash any other seeds I want to potentially bring to the F2 to make more of.
Do you have a
Ted,
cut of Donny or do you have seeds of Donny? How would you
I've
describe
got
them?
I've got like 5 or 6 F1 seeds of the original Donny Burger. And Ted Nugent Test Nugs or something. Ted Test Nugs, whatever the actual name, I always fuck it up. Test Nugs, I think is what it is now. It's been shortened. but they have F2s of Donny Burger, and they actually said they'll send some to me, which would be fucking dope. But I'm probably gonna F2 them myself as well, just because I want to cross it potentially to one of the Velvet Punch generations and some of the other stuff I'll have around at that time when I'm doing that work.
Well, we have a pack of Donny Burger at the Trichome Forge that we will be hunting soon. And so I'm excited for that. I told them, I said, if we have any males, do not kill that motherfucker until I can get a cut of it. Because we will fucking make some F2s.
For sure. Donny Burger is worth preserving. I don't care if you F2 it, if he F2s it, I'll F2 it. We need to make as many F2s of Donny Burger and get it as far as wide and as possible because the F1s are no longer. They haven't been a thing for years. Somebody told me last time I checked. I didn't want to like step on their feet F2ing, but it's not a thing. We're not going to step on anyone's feet. They're not, and I'm not going to sell them. I'm just trying to let people get a taste of some of what I consider to be the best, some of the best shit in modern time. I see Spartan taking a dab over there, but after he enjoys that, I'm gonna check in and see if you're gonna be heading over to the Michigan Bros Grow Show because it is 5:46 here on the West Coast. So I think I saw no head shake. Looks like you guys are not doing a show tonight. Cool. So we got you for the last 15, which is nice because whenever you freeze, I know that I've actually cut off, and it's helping me not jibber jabber way on longer. Because like if I see Spartan freeze, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up until I start hearing them talk again.
I'm always frozen, but I'm not, right? Yeah, I see.
Hopefully next week, like I said, I got the email that the router is shipped. It's on its way. I admittedly waited until like Friday to take action on that. I had a whole bunch of other stuff I was doing, so it got pushed to the back burner a little bit. I wish I would have taken action sooner because it was quicker than I expected. I thought it was going to be this whole back and forth BS, but they were like, "No, we'll do exactly what you're asking." It's like, all right, cool, thanks. And then they tried to sell me a few things, and I was like, I don't need that, thank you. Bye bye. Gotta love the
Boys. Having the dirty taxi and whew, it's like you know the flavor's coming, you know it's coming, but the high's so good you got to keep tapping it. So
just ultra strong, right? Because it's got chem and GMO.
Does it taste like a dumpster? What does it taste?
yeah, it tastes like you licked the floor of a taxi cab, man. I understand why it's called dirty taxi because that's the terps, man.
Okay, all right.
Dirty,
I'll
rotten,
fucking
funky.
know it.
Yeah, it's just fucking it's just foul and gross. It's just like
Funky in
it's
a bad way.
in my opinion, yes. I'm sure
Like
there's other people
Donny
that
Burger, in my opinion, which is a similar
Donny Burger
genetic.
is funky is a good way.
Yeah, it's got like a garlicky, kind of like earthy, kind of gassy.
I would
Uh,
say not really garlicky. I would say GMO without the garlic is how and gas, add more gas.
yeah, gassier for sure. It's got that OG push.
That's a
Um,
GMO gas without the garlic, is what I would say.
yeah,
For Donny Burger.
whatever with the mushroom onion, maybe onion in there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yep.
funky in a good way though. It's like pleasingly funky.
I think fuel might be the prominent terp, but it's the funk that like confuses you. It's like, what is this?
Your whole brain and like nose, you're just like, whoa,
Yeah.
Donny Burger. All the crosses in that. I think you guys had a Han Solo burger that was popular at Mitten Canico, which didn't surprise me,
Super
because
popular. They still grow it. Han Solo Burger #7, I believe it was. And that was GMO to Larry OG, I believe.
yeah, it's like a Larry OG like F8 male or something. And then that is what they crossed to GMO one more time to make the Donny.
Yep. And then they started doing back crosses to get to the double burgers and triple burgers and I don't know
All
what
kinds of burgers. There's
Papa
even like fruity
burger.
burgers. There's like
Has there
some
been a
like
pretty one?
banana burger or something. They had some kind of more candy crosses. I didn't ever get to try any of those, admittedly.
Me either. I ain't heard of those.
I just saw them on seed banks for a couple years when I was back scene fiending, and I would look around at all these seed banks and just think, screenshot the ones that sounded appealing, and then when I had some extra cash laying around, buy and hoard. But those days stopped when I started making my own seeds, and I've been getting so many seeds from the community that it's like, all right, if I take these from you, they'll be at the soonest grown in the next 10 years. Like I literally have a 10-year plan of lists of shit to grow with all the current seeds I have. So I don't want to like take stuff that would better be grown in somebody else's garden within the next year, you know? It's better fresh. I'm actually about to pull the F3 Velvet Punch potentially from my site because the germination rate has gotten poor. I think I might have overly dried them, or maybe 60 degrees is not cool enough. Over the year, two, three, I don't know how old they are at this point, but germination rates and vigor has gone down pretty significantly in the last couple that I've sent out for free and maybe potentially sold. So I even sent like a replacement pack to somebody thinking maybe it was like a heat and shipment thing. But I'm gonna do one confirmation germination when I do the Project V's to see if they germinate for me. And if they do, maybe it's just other people are having issues for other reasons. But I'm pretty confident at this point. They're some experienced growers telling me that they're having issues. So the Velvet Punch F3 may be no longer here pretty soon until maybe I refresh them because I still have some F2s myself and even F1s from the original. So I can go back potentially and do some fun projects. And I plan to work with it again and also other stuff, but I've got so much fun shit to hunt. Pine Tar Kush, fucking Brandon's glue crosses and lime crosses, and Spartan has sent me one of every one, or not one of, several of every one of his crosses. So I've got a bunch of cool Vortex and even Donnie Burger crosses. I've never gotten to try Spartan Puke yet, which is that might even be another one that I want to grow again sooner rather than later because I love Donnie and I'm probably gonna love the Vortex. So we'll see.
I like that. That one, I think that one still needs to be like that one. I would work more to try to find terps because I think that's its weakness. It doesn't really have. I mean, it has some terps, but it's not strong terps. But fucking, I love the high Spartan Puke.
It's funny because like I bet you somebody out there is gonna find a terpy ass pheno of it. That's like Spartan. What are you talking about?
Abs Absolutely, there's people out there growing it right now telling me that they have like this super funky, and I'm like, we grew 14 phenos of fucking berries, and you have super funky. Awesome.
That's it goes to show you the cultivation environment,
Yeah,
location,
I've heard
lighting.
the same stories, Spartan. The Mama B over at the Grow Room 420 showroom, whatever that place is, the forum there. She grew out that OG, the one that Oh God, which was the OG Kush by God Bud that I crossed with the Cheesequake. And every time I grew it out, it had like a funky kind of funk. She's like, she got a fruity one. And she said it smelled like Kool-Aid or whatever. And I was like, wow, nobody ever told me that. Yeah, people had told me they had garlic and shit like that, but never fruit. But she's like, yeah, it's like fruity fruit. And I was like, oh, that's crazy.
I'm getting people telling me they're getting like acrid, like fucking somebody puked on the school bus and it got on the heater. I mean, I'm getting like these really awesome descriptions from people, but it's like I haven't got one like that. I'm fucking jealous. I've
Next thing
gotten
you gotta
more.
ask is what's your grow look like? What are you growing in? What's your light? What's your
Yeah.
environment?
See, the thing is too is the Trichome Forge where we did the pheno hunt is cocoa and can of nutrients. And I grew, and then still I'm growing it now, Spartan Puke in my living soil, all organic, and it's still similar terps between both. Uh, so I didn't see a difference between either one there, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe other people are going, a third way.
Light spectrum.
True, different lights. Yeah. Yeah, the lights that we grew the Spartan Puke under were HLG Scorpions, because that was before we upgraded to the GMLs. And then I'm growing the Puke under GMLs.
Both like roughly 3,500 Kelvin white with a mix of blues and reds.
Well, that's how I mean, you said it's 3,500, but then you say mix of blues and reds. Now it's what color then?
That's your base. I mean, but like you could put there's enough diodes on there that it could
Yeah,
it's not going
full
to go to
spectrum
below
for sure.
3,000 and it's not going to go above 4,000, I would guess. If I had to be if I was a betting man,
Yeah.
I'd say no matter how many blue and red diodes, it's not going to shift you from like 3,500 to 3,000 unless you're doing like a spectrum tuning, which in your guy's case you do.
Yeah.
Does yours drop below 3,000 K in the spectrum tuning cases?
I don't know. I have to look up I'd have to like we're 450 nanometer. So we can hit to go down to 450 nanometer blue if we
Oh,
need
so
to.
just giving pure blue.
Yeah. On the Well, let me see. No, we don't have that because we have the Voyagers in there. So we could go to the best we can do is a cool white spectrum, and which is going to be I don't know what that is on color temperature scale.
Is cool white bluer or redder?
Whiter. Yeah, it was bluer.
So like probably 4,000, maybe 5,000,
Yeah, probably four.
65,000 at the highest. And if it's really blue,
It's probably yeah, it's probably in the 4K, somewhere in the 4K zone. I'd have to try to find I could probably find in one of my spectrums here. I'm pulling up in the manual for the our top of the line light. It's the four spectrums that you can change, but it also has a cool white. It's hard to find the spectrum that has just that and not the other spectrums tuned into it. So I'm trying to find it. But at least it would tell I could at least tell you like the percentage of blue. You know what I mean? It wouldn't give you like the what K it is, but it would tell you at least the percentage of blue.
yeah. I do think that people can get away with a bluer spectrum than they might realize. A lot of people want that 3,500 Kelvin, maybe even down to like 3,000, or even like I've seen stuff like I think your guys' HPS spectrum is probably closer to like a 2,750, if I had to guess, maybe even like 2,500 or 25,000.
I mean,
Um,
I would I really think I'm a big believer on the spectrum tuning now that I have it. Um, just for the ability to honestly keep my plants shorter, during the bolting and things like that. During the stretch and flower, if I hit it with that blue, that's when I like to hit it with blue. Give it like my almost my veg spectrum, hit it with blue if I'm trying to suppress stretch, if I have like a GMO or I have some stretchy ass plant. And at the end, I like to throw them in at the end, like maybe last week at least, maybe the last 2 weeks. And after stretch is over, I like to go I mean, I like to take the blues not all the way out, but mostly out and really hit it with that HPS-esque spectrum where it's pushing heavy reds and greens and oranges and yellows, and you're getting that bulking. It's
I do notice the bluer spectrum makes a little bit, I'd say, larfier, more open bud, where the redder spectrum I think makes a little bit more of a denser solid nug versus like the kind of crowned or even like foxtaily.
I think it's honestly opposite. I think that the red oh causes elongation. It causes the stretch. So it'll do the same thing in the bud. And so that's why
Like
you
if we're talking far red, I'm talking more like just like the 660 to like the redder spectrums, like the
I think either will do the same thing. I mean, too much, I guess. But
I'm just thinking of the what's his name? We showed a side by side where the guy had the like
like an
HPS
HPS
spectrum,
versus a
but they were both
versus
LEDs. It was like 3,500 Kelvin versus like 2,700 Kelvin.
okay.
and and the one that was under like the HPS spectrum did, and it could have been that particular strain, but it nugged up tighter and more like golf ball type buds where the
More than the blue side.
yeah, but that
Oh,
was for the whole of flower. Like they did it from start to finish, the exact same spectrum.
yeah, I'd love to see that replicated. I don't find I don't know.
We found issues because I remember we looked at it and like they had the light was a little closer on the one
Yeah,
side.
I remember that now that you're talking about that. I think I remember who it was too, which also brings me to question.
At least it was like same clone, same nutrient system,
Yes.
etc. So like as
Yeah,
like
a way better test than is usually done in home gardens for sure.
yeah.
But still, it
It's
wasn't.
tough. It is tough to do legitimate science at home. And I like citizen science. It's fun to look at. And I do think we can glean. I think the people on the bleeding edge, a lot of times, like even like switching from like a HPS to a CMH or a CMH to an LED in the last couple of years was like kind of taboo. And now it's like a staple, you know?
Well, I
It's
think,
like,
yeah, that's kind of what I was going at was I think that's kind of the point of switching to that blue spectrum, that CMH or whatever at the end of flower was to tighten it up, was to get that tightening up of the bud at the end to compensate for hitting it with that HPS, that high reds, high oranges, high greens for, olive flower.
it was Ohm's law, like
Yeah.
OHMS under
Oh,
Yep.
he did a search on his phone and it cut him off on his computer. It's like, nah, you're not doing that. No workarounds, man. No workarounds. But that was on Instagram. I think he was finishing up Ohm's Law on it. There's Ohm's_law on Instagram, I believe.
Yeah, there might be two underscores, but I cut out right when I was going to pass it. I just noticed it's 6 o'clock. I don't want to keep you all too late, so I'm gonna pass it over first to Spartan Grown for final thoughts and shout out.
Shout out to everyone shout out to a couple, like we said earlier, I guess, in chat. So this is just repeating myself, but I love seeing some of the older names that I haven't seen in forever coming in here and participating. So I don't know, that made my day. And special shout out to all the moms out there and all the mother plants out there. Um, you're responsible for all the good in the world, so let's keep doing that. Uh, otherwise, fucking always protect home grow and keep growing, everybody.
Great stuff as always, and thank you all for coming on Mother's Day. Hopefully, if you've got yours in your life and you have a decent relationship with them, you got to call them, talk to them, maybe spend a little bit of time with them, and give appreciation, give thanks. And if you don't have them, understand. Lots of reasons, and life keeps marching forward, just like the gardens have to. And hopefully, you got some mother plants kicking. Hopefully, you got some good advice in this episode and enjoyed just some of the hanging out and having fun. I do apologize about the connections again. My internet connection hasn't been the best, but you all bared with me for the last few weeks, and I'm pretty confident by next week the router will be here. It's on the way, so should be fixed soon. And last and certainly not least, we've got the American one.
As always, Jack, thanks for hosting. It's always great. And yeah, it was good to see everybody in chat. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. And yeah, shout out to everyone who came in by in chat. It's always good to see everyone. And have a great week. We'll see you here next week or somewhere in between. And yeah, peace out.
Stay cool out there. Y'all know where you can find me. And if you don't see the Vote Punch F3, then you'll realize that my germination test went poorly. If you still see it, you'll realize mine went well. But that being said, not to make excuses, but shit does happen when you send stuff in the mail, especially during this hotter season. Maybe it's not hot where I'm at, but maybe it is where you are. Maybe it got left in your mailbox for a day or two and it got to hundreds of degrees, and that can cook seeds. I've had some seeds show up and not sprout because I probably didn't get to them in the mailbox soon enough. So I've been guilty of doing that. So as much as I can, I try to send them in a way that it'll just get dropped on your front porch and hopefully they get there quick. But if they don't go, I'll always replace them. Hit me up and let me know. And if you don't want a replacement, I'll try and refund you if you did pay anything for them. Most people got them for free. So it's just a bummer when it doesn't go. But that said, always more seeds to be made. Look out for, I don't plan to go F4, but I do plan to do a lot more work with not only Doja's stuff, but a lot of the stuff that I found interesting over the years and feel like I wanted to go back and have a cut of it. That's a good idea for me to F2 it or cross it into something and have fun with the offspring. So I'm excited about growing as always. And I think everybody else should be because there's always something fun and new to try. So keep on growing, have fun, try new things, and keep listening. We all appreciate you, the brand new people and the people who've been around for years and years.
So we appreciate y'all. Hopefully you'll come back to be able to say goodbye.
Especially appreciate Jack.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
afterward.
All right, you're back, Jack.
Damn. Well, nothing majorly important, but shout out to all the people who listen out there. We respect and love and appreciate all you, both podcast and YouTube, new and old. Cheers, peace and love. Catch y'all next week.